glory of this approaching angel. He cried out with a loud and mighty voice. Here's an authoritative announcement. It's loud, it's mighty, it's audible. He cried out with a loud voice. This is similar to what we saw of those angels, those three angels who announced the impending judgment of God in chapter 14. If you remember, in chapter 14 and verse 7, I saw another angel flying mid-heaven, having an eternal gospel to preach to those who live on the earth and to every nation and tribe and tongue and people. And he said with a loud voice, "Fear God and give him glory, because the hour of his judgment made the heaven and the earth, the sea and the springs of waters. And fallen is Babylon the Great." And then another angel, the third one, followed them, saying with a loud voice, "If anyone worships the beast and his image and receives a mark on his forehead or on his hand, he also will drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is mixed in full strength in the cup of his anger, and he will be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb." Now here are three angels with loud voices making announcements to the earth. So too we see here in chapter 18, this angel come from heaven with great authority, his glory illumining the planet as he cries out with a loud and mighty voice. The word mighty means forceful, strong. Gregory Beale stands back and says, this voice is stupefyingly significant. This is astonishingly significant. This is something to ponder. We humans hear messages from angelic beings. We certain place. Those doctrines of demons, as we learn in 1 Timothy 4, verse 1 to 5, teach the image of God to distort the image of God, are designed to overthrow the moral order of creation. And those demonic doctrines permeate through a given culture at any time. Well, so too, angelic warnings of impending judgment is heard. And as I reflected upon this, quite frankly, I don't know how we hear angelic messages. But we hear them. And their stupefying significance gets through to humans. And here we have an angel making an announcement, not like that choir of angels that appeared to the shepherds who were tending their flocks by night in Luke chapter 2, but an awareness in and itself, and it deserves judgment. And increasingly, there's an awareness of final judgment is approaching, an uneasy, unsettled sense that maybe things are not going as well as what we're being told. How do we hear these angelic voices? I think as you reflect upon that, somehow we hear them. We hear the warnings, we hear the impending judgment, we also hear the deception, and we hear doctrines that are lies. We need to hear, as Jesus fallen. Whenever you see something repeated in the scripture, that's a way of in the scripture, that's a way of underscoring the emphatic importance of what's being said. Fallen, fallen. This is a reality that needs to get through to us. Babylon really is an anti-God society full of idolaters, demonically deceived into hating and killing the saints, and it is fallen. It is righteously defeated, judged, and damned. Of course, to fall means to drop from some high place down to a lower place, the upright. It's no longer structured. It's ruined. It's come to a place. This term is used to describe someone who is on his knees, on his face, prostrate, either in a posture of worship or in a posture of military defeat. If your army was defeated, your general would go and prostrate himself before the victorious general, who would put his foot on your head. You've collapsed. You've fallen. And that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing the defeat of this godless, anti-God culture conquered by Christ and brought to submission. Even though it's called Babylon the Great. Babylon the Great. This is not your everyday usual city. This is Babylon the Great. In chapter 17 and verse 18, that's the reference that we last read. The woman whom you saw is the great city, which reigns over the kings of the earth. When the Old Testament prophet Isaiah saw the upcoming demise and fall